Welcome on in, take a seat. I'm FaithNo45 of Clan Annora, and it's been quite the year for us Warframe decorators. I'm here to take a look back at what the last year has brought us building folk and reflect on what an excellent fan service Digital Extremes did for us in the year of 2025. To mark an important starting point for how this year started, this channel created two very popular community wish lists, and on the 13th of November of 2024, Mad Davos produced and published our 14-minute wishlist for Orbiter decorating. This was also before we even knew the Backrooms were a thing, and then on the 20th of January 2025, after many weeks of editing, I published our 39-minute Dojo wishlist, which had more suggestions than I can even count. I've linked everything in the video description if you want to stroll down memory lane to see the list we made. What was clear going into 2025 was that the decorating community was hungry for things to progress and take the next step. Me and Mad expected nothing to come from either of these lists. They were quite frankly a Hail Mary, but as the age-old saying goes, if you don't ask, you don't get. For us was up to DE and to hear our cries. Without our knowledge, DE was already cooking with their next update. It was a great and unexpected start for what was to come. On the December 13th, 2024, the Backrooms were released as part of the 1999 update. Armed with higher room capacity than the Orbiters, better lighting, and less intense red zones, we have seen the community take to the Backrooms like ducks to water. So far, we've been able to publish 11 insane community backroom showcases, and we've seen so many more from other creators, posted in decorating spaces in multiple discords. They were the upgrade to the Orbiters we didn't know we needed. Flash forward into 2025, and on the 19th of March came the release of Techrot Encore. We got introduced to the cheery Velimir, who came with 20 new Orbiter decos ranging from arcade cabinets to more wood options. Additionally, if you venture over to the Brooding Temple, he came with 12 new cases and music equipment with the Orbiter, which are very welcome if you want a floof playing the drums. Kaya also came with the Peely Pix decoration, and we got 2 market items with Lizzie's guitar and the Afervon tank. Also, by completing the Technosite Coda bounties, you could farm up to 10 new online floof variants from the infested to the uninfested forms. Lastly, the dojo saw a massive influx of new 1999 themed items and a new catalogue, with 153 very welcome new pieces for a more modern convenience in the dojo. For me, this was the big one. Isleweaver didn't just come with the Spider Mother Araxia, it also came with a massive dojo quality of life update. The only Orbiter thing we got was the nightmarish Scuttler drone, but this was a very dojo functionality heavy update. Amazingly, most of the QOL changes in this update were implemented one-to-one from our dojo wishlist. This includes the ability to build in preview mode, a fund all option for unfunded builds, the ability to give decoration privileges to individual clan members for select rooms, a much needed room lock feature, and 8 new dojo NPCs to bring your spaces to life. I'm particularly satisfied with the aesthetic changes made to the star chart, as D basically copied my vision for an improved layout with coloured icons reflecting contest wins. Seeing an idea you have come to life in a AAA game is quite surreal, so thank you to whoever backstage brought that to life and made it a thing in game. What wasn't on our wishlist was a bit of a curveball from DE2, radically changing the function of note beacons and tributors with changes that make impossible builds that can now come to life. Tributor and note beacons can now scale up to a gigantic 16 times their original size. I mean, the only way to demonstrate this is by showing you some of the work that's happened since those changes. Look at Agenum's Man in the Wall Shadow Art build. Not only is it perfect, it's now achievable due to the giant tributors that you can now make in dojos. Elsewhere, Uzbek from the clan Acton within our alliance made this amazing Astroth build, utilising the new tributor system to make a very convincing and different skybox to give his build a nice contrast. And you can't mention Shadow Art without mentioning Fear Perfection from Dojo Prime. These changes have allowed him to create shadow arts with more layers, which allow him to create more convincing and mind-blowing shadow art, as is with the case with his new Robin from One Piece. This has made shadow art more accessible to both dojos and orbiters, and we've also seen a big increase of this building method submitted to contests ever since. Isleweaver may have not been rich in a massive asset inventory, but its strength was giving much needed building tools and options for decorators that they didn't have before. Approaching the spooky season, Nogo and his cheeked up Sprodlings were released on the 15th of October in the largest asset rich update the dojos and orbiters have gotten in Warframe history. Nightcap literally brought an entire forest with him to the orbiters, offering 60 brand new items to turn your orbiter into a literal greenhouse. Elsewhere, there was an additional 44 new items that were spread across existing and new vendors, including 25 new items for Acrithis in the Dormer Zone, with this update bringing in a total number of items for orbiters to 104. 107 if you include the new Protector Stalker Floof, Sprodling Floof, and the Sprodling Domestic Drone. And the orbiter love doesn't even stop there. Most of the vendor items received significant price decreases, which was one of the main talking points of our orbiter wishlist, making it much easier to farm and build up an inventory, as before it was quite time consuming and slow in order to build up enough assets to build your orbiter or backroom. And that was just the orbiters. I always have to recheck this number, but the dojos received a mighty 235 new decorations spread across its many catalogues. This includes 14 new 1999 planters and garden beds, 2 new infested flowers, 3 Deviri garden beds, a game-changing 163 new plants and trees in the Natural tab, and for the first time ever, 53 new Zeraman items added to the Tenno tab. This totaled 342 new dojo and orbiter items available to the players in the Vallis Undermind, which is a little over half of the entire year's new decorations for decorators to play around with. What an absolute W update. And finally, we arrive at Warframe's biggest update of the year, the Old Peace. This update wasn't as intense as the last two, but important nonetheless. It boasts 8 new market decorations that include the Xenoflora decos and Rove's Infernum Throne from the new Descendia game mode. The update also introduces us to the grumpy proto-frame Father Leon Allard, and if you get Marie to like you on the Kim system, he will sell you 16 new Preeta-themed personal decorations. The dojos also receive 6 Lunar New Year decos taken from the Orbiter appearance option, and 54 new 1999 themed decos from the streets of Hulvania. And the very last additions were spread all throughout the year, as we can't forget there were 6 new Prex cards released with the new Warframes, 2 of which also came from the Rhino and Valkyr heirloom editions. 2025 saw 4 updates, and all 4 were relevant to decorators. 3 of those included both new dojo and orbiter decorations. In total, the dojo saw 460 new items added to the building catalogue in 2025, and the orbiter saw 179 new items, which greatly increases build variety and flexibility going forward. And if you break down the orbiters, 148 came from vendors, 14 were added to the market to buy with platinum, and 17 were miscellaneous items which include Prex cards and Coda Floofs. In total, that is a whopping 639 new items across everything for the year of 2025. Which is absolutely outrageous, and I love it. The fact that I've needed 10 minutes just to list what is added is already quite telling. 2025 was quite the year for its decorators, and my favourite in the 5 years since I've been building. Me and Mad recently talked about making this video to highlight the wishlists that were worth our time making, and because they yielded such positive results for the entire community. And we're so pleased because the vast majority of these changes were airlifted from our hallowed Google Sheet, and we're so thankful that our Hail Mary was spotted by Digital Extremes. They deserve all the flowers they can get from us, time after time, across every part of the sub-communities from every niche of the game. They always take the time to listen and implement changes to improve the game based on community feedback. Me and Mad Davos went in with 0 expectations, and due to these changes we don't want to take them for granted, so this is our way of expressing our gratitude for the A+ efforts this year from the studio. We spoke up about the nervy position decorating was in at the start of the year, and after all of this, we can lift our heads high and say DE did a great job at quelling our anxieties and putting more emphasis on the decorating scene. This list doesn't even include all the bugs they fixed which have helped stabilise the dojos in particular. There are no negative takeaways from this video. Throughout the year we have only collated positive feedback about the changes to decorating, and we want DE to know that the many thousands of messages we've seen across the Discords show how energised people are about decorating their personal spaces and dojos. After every update there's been nothing but excitement as people scramble to find out all the new things that have been added for them to play around with in their orbiters and dojos. We've been privileged enough to review all of the new items regularly on this channel, and we've seen an increase of quality of orbiters, backrooms and dojos alike, which has been telling, and after a few sticky years of stagnation in the building community, it feels like 2025 was a big turning point for all decorators. I would like to name drop DE Puzzle and DE Ronnie, who have been champions of building and have been instrumental in steering the ship in the right direction. And if there's anyone else in the background from all of the community team or developers that make things for the dojos, orbiters and backrooms, we'd like to extend our gratitude and thanks for a stellar 2025. What an unbelievable live service game we've hitched our wagon to. We have no idea what 2026 brings, but we're hopeful that we can go from strength to strength in the new year. If you want to start your decorating journey, now is the perfect time to get involved. The Architects Anonymous march into a very new exciting year. Join the Discord to get all of the decorating news, help and support you need to turn your ideas into reality. The link is in the video description, you know what to do. And in the comments, let us know what your favourite deco edition was in 2025. Keep telling us and Digital Extremes what you want to see added to decorating in 2026 and beyond. From myself, Mad Davos, Bobe, Gizmo, Lilo, PyroRuck9876 and Shorky444 and everyone within our community, we wish you a very happy new year and we'll see you soon.